Thank you. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much for inviting me again. Like I said last time, this is really starting to feel like home. It's my second home church. I belong to the Unitarian Church in Sharon, and I'm very honored because two of my friends from there are here today. And I love this church. This is where I started the first time, speaking. So this will always hold a very special place in my heart. I am Rumni Saha. I am originally from India. I am a Hindu, but also a Unitarian Universalist. I am in my final year of seminary, my third year at Boston University School of Theology. And I'm also the Hindu chaplain at Wellesley College. So I am excited to speak today about, just borrow from the wisdom of Hinduism. Our opening words today are by Hope Johnson, and it is called We Are One. It's not in the hymnal, I just have it here. It's from the UUA website. We are one, a diverse group of proudly kindred spirits, here not by coincidence, but because we choose to journey together. We are active and proactive. We care deeply. We live our love as best we can. We are one, working, eating, laughing, playing, singing, storytelling, sharing, and rejoicing. Getting to know each other, taking risks, opening up, questioning, seeking, searching, trying to understand, struggling, making mistakes, paying attention, asking questions, listening, living our answers, learning to love our neighbors, learning to love ourselves, apologizing, and forgiving with humility, and being forgiven through grace, creating the beloved community together. We are one. And now the words for the chalice lighting are by Sherry Woodbury, and it's titled Alive in All Creation. Spark of the Spirit, cupped in earth's embrace, light of love, alive in all creation. As we kindle this flame, we rekindle our connection to the sacred web of life. And now, hymn 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. And now the affirmations, 471. I'll let you find it. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human need, to this end that all souls should grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and God. And now for the announcements. If anyone has any announcements, the microphone is going to go around.
Is it on? Yeah. Just a little note about my own professional life. I just got a gig as the psychologist for the drug prevention program in Berkeley, Freetown, and Dayton, which runs out of the Pentecostal Church in Freetown under a federal grant. So I'll be starting that sometime soon. Should be fun. Also want to mention and to talk about, of course, the Miracles program, which is every Friday on YouTube and live, 9 to 10. Our leaders are all pretty much here, except for Al, who's online. Richard, the show, and Deva. Bye.
Thank you.
Tony.
Thank you for going. So, Rumni, the pleasure is ours. We have loved watching you as you go through school, and we hope to hear a lot more about you in the future as well. I know that you're very busy and unable to take more than just one Sunday a year, so if that changes, you know how we would love to have you more than that. And I wanted to let everybody know that next week, our own Reverend Richard Trudeau will be conducting our worship service for our first December worship. And do we have a title yet, Richard?
Frederick Douglass of Massachusetts. When Frederick Douglass escaped from slavery in, I think, 1838, he spent his first 7 years of freedom in Massachusetts. And it was during those 7 years that he became the Frederick Douglass that we read about in history.
Very good. Well, thank you again. And now we have a musical selection. And now please rise as you wish in body or in spirit for hymn number 95. There is more love somewhere. Thank you. You may sit down. And now for a moment of meditation. So I invite you to take a minute to simply breathe. You may close your eyes as you wish or as you feel comfortable. Take a breath longer than what you've taken all day. In this season of gratitude, take a moment to feel connected to those who have come before us, those who are with us, and those who will surely come after us. Breathe in gratitude and breathe out love. Take a moment to quietly remember those whose land this church stands on. We are grateful. You may now open your eyes and come back. And I also wanted to let you know before I start that I sometimes have a tendency to speak really fast. So if I am speaking fast, please just raise your hand, interrupt me, and tell me to slow down. I need reminders from time to time. So the sermon today is titled Wisdom of Leadership from the Ancient Hindu Epic and More. I thought it would be an appropriate topic to deal with leadership, given what is happening today around the country, right? The examples and the samples of leadership we are witnessing. So I wanted to start with a story about leadership from my own life. It was in the summer of 2011 that I first met my boss. He was the new principal of the middle school where I had worked for many years. I was a teacher before I went to seminary. I was a special education teacher for 21 years. So I was, for lack of a better word, tickled by this new principal. He was this really tall, thin man in his 40s, And the first thing I noticed was his piercing laughter that I began to dissect right away. You see, Dr. C, as I will call him, I might switch between Dr. C and Bill. Dr. C had taken over from our beloved principal, Mr. L, who was the most easygoing boss one could ask for. Everything was okay with him, right? Everything. We could do nothing wrong. We could come in and leave when we pleased. He never complained. So Dr. C, who, like I said, I will refer to as, Bill sometimes, had big shoes to fill. There was a strange calm about him, which I could not fathom, but I concluded that it was his calculated mind out to get me. I had my first closed-door meeting with Dr. C during the first week of school, when he told me that I could no longer leave the monthly faculty meetings 15 minutes early, which I was used to, like so many others. I was distraught at the thought of finding childcare for 15 minutes a month. But I couldn't really argue with his rock-solid logic. He said, Rumni, if I let you leave 15 minutes early, I would have to do the same for others when they asked, and that wouldn't be fair, right? Imagine if everybody started asking to leave 15 minutes early. I didn't say anything, I said, but in my heart, I thought that's exactly what we did. People came and went whenever they wanted to. And like I said, I just was besides myself. What was I going to do? But eventually, I was pleasantly surprised that this casual pressure that he created on me to find a solution made me more efficient in coming up with a solution. Over the next few months, something strange began to happen. The same push to find better solutions to mundane problems made all of us better at what we did. Even I was impressed. Soon after, I realized that the saintly aura that I had noticed around Bill was truly virtuous. During a casual conversation, I found out that this educator was a humanist first, someone who had volunteered with Mother Teresa in the slums of Calcutta. I, who had grown up just a stone's throw away from the missionaries of charity, had chosen to turn my back from them. And I knew that this was no easy feat. This was not for the faint of heart, and there was no glory in the work that was done in those slums. By then, all of us were beginning to see that the calm that we had seen in Bill was sincere. Dr. C was truly a good guy. And in the next few months, the young, vibrant principal started making heads turn. We were all touched by his genuine desire to do better. He set a great example by getting down and dirty, working alongside all of us to transform our school into a well-oiled machine, churning out smarts with emotions. In fact, his motto was, smart is not what you are, smart is what you become. And he truly believed that. He believed that every student, every teacher, every staff had the potential to do better, no matter how good they were. So the school was a happy place, the morale was high, and everyone was brimming with energy and renewed faith that had trickled down from our boss. Fast forward to 2016. I had just had the worst summer of my life. My cousin, who was really my brother, had passed, had died unexpectedly at 24. And my mother, that summer, died bit by bit by bit. And I was there by her side. I came back to America. This was in India. I came back, and all I wanted to do was compartmentalize what had just happened. So I wanted to put everything aside and just go to work, go to school, a place that I loved. I ran into Bill in the hallway. That day was a Friday. School was supposed to start on Monday. And he asked me, "How are you doing?" And I said, "I'm good, I'm good." He didn't say anything, he just smiled. And he knew that, what I was going through because I'd left that school year early to go take care of my mother. That afternoon, he called me into his office. He said, "Rumni, come in for a minute." So I went in, and he said, "How are you really doing?" And before I could say anything in that minute or so I was there were 3 people who barged me to his office. If you worked in a school, you know the first day of school is like the start of a Broadway play. There's so much going on. So the secretary came in, she needed him to sign a letter. Somebody he had to call a parent who was, really losing it over transportation. So there were all these, little fires going off that Bill needed to put out. He said, he locked the door behind him and he said, "Let's get out of here." And I said, "Bill, it's almost 3 o'clock. You have all this to do and tomorrow is Saturday." He said, "Don't worry, let's go." He brought me to the picnic tables in the back of the school and he sat me down. I remember it was a beautiful August day. And he said, "Now tell me, how are you really?" And then I just kind of lost it because, it had been a very, very hard summer. He listened, he just listened intently. I saw tears welling in his eyes and I kept thinking, what is this man doing with me when he has so much to do? And then he said, "Rumni, this is why we have family leave, right? That is something you can absolutely access." And I said, "Bill, there are already 4 positions that need to be filled. And if I leave, and in that particular class where there are, students that a lot of teachers do not want to work with, they have severe behavioral problems." And he said, "That's not your problem. That is not your problem." But he didn't tell me that this is what you need to do. He said, "Just know that that's an option. You can do that. You can avail of it. Absolutely. And I'm here to support you 100%. Of course, I didn't listen to him because I thought I was invincible, right? I went back to work. Within a week, I knew I just couldn't do it. And I ended up staying home for 3 months. That's how bad. And that's, the state I was in. But I was grateful that he didn't force me to do it, right? It was my decision. He just listened and he told me what my options were. This was 2016. 2017, Bill, this incredible man who had been incredible, not just to me, to everybody. His contract was not renewed. The school district thought that he was not a good leader. His style did not align with the district's leadership model. Behind closed doors, we heard that administration thought that he wasn't strong enough, he was weak. This didn't sit well with me, didn't sound right to me. I tried to fight it. I wrote a letter to the newspaper. Nothing really came of it. He was very, very grateful. But again, I did it on my own volition. And eventually I went on my own, merry way, and I subscribed to the dominant narrative of what a leader should look like and act like, right? And Bill did not fit that mold. It has always bothered me. It's been a couple of years. We've still, we've stayed as friends. We've stayed friends since. But it just did not seem right. This was a man who was full of humility, did everything that a leader should do. But of course, he had no ego. You know, he got down and dirty with all of us, worked hand in hand with us. So it has bothered me. So since I started working at Wellesley as a Hindu chaplain, I have often turned to my roots for guidance. The Bhagavad Gita has been prominently studied. It's a Hindu epic. It is believed to have been written in 3000 BC. And it has been studied in the context of philosophy, theology, and literature. Albert Einstein, Ralph Waldo Emerson, and Henry David Thoreau have all quoted from the Bhagavad Gita. But recently I read this article that Peter Senge, who is one of the most prominent management thinkers of our time, he is a senior lecturer at MIT, and he teaches leadership, right? He has quoted heavily and borrowed from the Bhagavad Gita. And because according to him, the Bhagavad Gita has a lot to offer about leadership, and very similar to contemporary theories and practices on leadership. So I thought it's the right time to kind of dig a little deep into the Bhagavad Gita and see what it has to say about what's going around, but also kind of investigate what I felt about Dr. C's leadership style. So the Bhagavad Gita, I'll give you a little background on it. Like I said, it was written in 3000 BC, but it is a dialogue between Lord Krishna, who is a Hindu god, and Arjuna, who is the quintessential archer and a warrior. And this Bhagavad Gita is a part of the Hindu epic Mahabharata, which I'm sure many of you have heard about. So Krishna and Arjuna are the main protagonists in this ancient story. And Krishna is Arjuna's friend and his guide, but he's also the charioteer. So he drives the chariot that Arjuna is riding when he goes into this battlefield. So when Krishna brings the chariot into the battlefield, Arjuna is horrified because he sees so many of the people that he loved, his friends, his teachers, his family, in the battlefield, ready to fight against him. And so he turns to Krishna for guidance, right? He asks him what the right thing to do is. He wants to run away, and he doesn't want to do this anymore. But what I love about the Bhagavad Gita and also Hinduism is that it doesn't really give you answers. There are no thou shalls. If you do this, this is going to happen. No. Arjuna asks Krishna for guidance, thinking he'll get all these answers, but Krishna doesn't give him any answers. He gives him choices, and he presents questions. He throws questions back at him, and he kind of asks rhetorical questions. And in that, as he is in the battle, on the battlefield, Arjuna comes up with his own answers. And again, that is the beauty of Hinduism, because it doesn't tell you, right? In life, nobody's going to tell you this is what you should do, or what is good for you might not be good for me, right? And sometimes Arjuna makes mistakes, but those are his choices. So the Bhagavad Gita then is a compilation of Arjuna's questions and moral dilemma, Krishna's insight that elaborate on a variety of philosophical concepts. It touches upon human ethical dilemmas, who we are, what is our purpose in life, crisis of self-identity, what am I doing, ways for spiritual conquest, and yes, leadership. So some of Bhagavad Gita's enduring lessons on leadership are the following. So leaders, Krishna says, should embrace rather than avoid formidable challenges, because formidable challenges or conflicts can be opportunities for transformation. Conflicts are bound to happen. They are natural in life. As much as we want to avoid conflicts, we can't always. But so we need to look at conflicts as something that is a vehicle of change, right? Change for the better. Conflicts also challenge us, and they also bring out our greatest strengths and also our greatest weaknesses, and that's okay. Leaders should be resilient in their actions and should not be weakened by pain and pleasure. There's a lot of talk about equanimity, right? Composure, balance, level-headedness. Think about how these traits are missing in so many leaders around us, right? Especially in the political arena. Krishna also says that selfish desires and animosity obscure the purpose of leadership. I love this one. He talks about leaders achieve lasting power and glory by exercising compassion and selfless service. So what is most important in leadership is compassion towards everybody around you. Effective leaders do not lead by fear or anger or ego, but by compassion and humility. Again, some traits that are sadly missing. Character is core to effective leadership. It is absolutely essential that you must lead from your inner character, your integrity. Leaders need to be aware of the self and their surroundings. And the Bhagavad Gita goes pages into knowing ourselves. Right? Among many leadership lessons that the Bhagavad Gita has to offer, two concepts stand out prominently and deserve a closer examination, I thought. These concepts are, one, know thyself. You cannot be an effective leader unless you know yourself. According to the ancient Vedic tradition or wisdom, human consciousness is not limited to our physical and psychological states. It extends much further. And what Krishna is talking about is really the quantum level of our existence, which many wisdom traditions refer to as the soul. And Krishna goes into this, he goes into this, this speech about how you can really make yourself more aware of yourself, right, about the soul. And one of them is really by practicing meditation. That's where, meditation is often associated with Hinduism. But meditation is really about knowing your own self. It's about mindfulness. It fosters presence. And presence and mindfulness are absolutely crucial if you are to lead. So meditation is the state of being in peace with our inner selves, regardless of physical state, events, or surroundings. So again, you remain kind of unfazed by what is going on. If you know yourself and if you're true to yourself, it doesn't matter what is happening outside, even if there's a war raging. So the Bhagavad Gita also suggests that your true potential cannot be tapped without good discipline and good moral character. And discipline, again, part of that discipline is being mindful. So the Gita talks about developing a sattvic character. In Sanskrit, sattvic is essentially righteousness. The Gita defines sattvic as the character of harmony. It radiates peace and happiness, and it offers selfless service and has a high level of emotional intelligence. Right? And that is something that scholars are really saying, that emotional intelligence is absolutely crucial to effective leadership. But we hear about emotional intelligence over and over in the Bhagavad Gita. The second one, I could have picked just about any, but I thought this was really interesting. The second one, the second important need or trait for leadership is renunciation. And I have to say that Krishna also mentions that you have to be careful, you have to be aware of false renunciation, renouncing your responsibilities, right? Or when you're in the middle of this battle, which is really a battle of good over evil, you can't just say, oh no, I see people, I don't know how to deal with it. That is shirking your responsibility. So that is false renunciation. So he talks about renouncing. So what are some of the things that we should renounce? Negative thoughts, words, and actions, inequality, and instead promote equality and justice, renounce selfish desires, and exercise selfless service, renounce indiscipline, dishonesty, laziness, and exercise integrity and proactiveness, renounce arrogance and ignorance, be open-minded, renounce momentary happiness that is derived from selfish behaviors. Instead, seek happiness that is long-lasting and beneficial to all. It's not just about me, but what is the right thing for everybody else. And you might not see the benefits right now. It can take days, it can take months, but you have to lead from your heart. The leader must practice selfless giving and strive for the common good. Practicing renunciation requires focusing on people and demonstrating compassion towards them. So relationships, right? Leadership is really about relationships and relationality. Is that a word? Relationships. So Krishna says that true renunciation is one that is undertaken with courage and without selfish attachments. By acknowledging one's responsibilities and doing everything in their capacity to fulfill those responsibilities, a person performs true renunciation. Shying away from one's responsibilities over apprehension and anxiety is not meaningful renunciation. That's false renunciation. So Krishna demonstrates that being spiritual and humble does not mean being soft. It only implies that one's decisions and actions are grounded in sound values, the absence of ego, and operated by a desire to achieve the greater good. When I look at these leadership traits prescribed by the Bhagavad Gita and think back to the way Dr. C led, I have no doubt that he was checking off each requirement. He was a man of utmost integrity, a leader of utmost integrity, and his leadership was values-driven, one that the system misconstrued as soft and weak. So some of you may be thinking, well, this is all well and good, but what does it have to do with me? How does this apply to us, right? The truth is that we don't have to have a formal role or position in order to be a leader. Yes, some of us are leaders in our professional lives, but all of us are leaders in some capacity in our personal lives, as parents, as spouses, as friends, as neighbors, as caregivers. So I would urge you to remember the enduring wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita and the example of Dr. C. Let us always lead with integrity, with intent, with intentionality. Let us lead with our head and heart. Let us lead with courage and humility, but most of all with compassion. Let it be so. And now, before we share joys and concerns, was I too fast or was I okay? Good. Awesome. Thank you. I'm learning. Thank you. All right. Oh, we forgot the offertory. Okay, we should do that.
Just so you know, you can go up one by one, put your desk up in, and I'll turn off the fan.
So nobody knows who's contributing.
Thank you. And now for our joys and concerns.
If you have one, you can use the microphone.
Every Sunday on our way down here, we stop at Dunkin' Donuts to caffeinate and sugarize ourselves before we get to that. And there's several people that are always there. And this morning, there's a group of sort of noisy, rowdy people at one end, and then there's a man at the other end who always has a tablet and is sitting and playing solitaire. And I was talking to him. And today, he was telling us that his wife had some serious health issues. She's in the hospital, she's having surgeries, she's having tests, and he's pretty upset. So I said we would send out a offering.
I'm Peggy Moran, and I want to thank you all for this lovely church and service. And this is the first time seeing Rumni for me, and I'm really enjoying it.
I loved hearing your talk this morning. Earlier this summer, I had the time and the good pleasure of reading the Gita. And then it branched out into when I started studying Paramahansa Yogananda. It makes the assertion that Jesus studied in the lost years of his life from age 12 to 30 something. And he studied in India. And what is possibly even, advanced enough to be considered a yogi. In your theological studies, have you seen any evidence of that?
No, we haven't. Yeah, I go to a Methodist seminary.
I enjoyed this that with the support of everyone and through this fortune, I came through a very serious health crisis. And my concern is for the people that I see come through my path on a regular basis. The laundress who picks up our laundry and who has terrible pain and has to work through it anyway. And for all of those people who do not have what I was able to have the time to heal. And I wish that positive thoughts would go their way for continuing, just to be able to continue with some kind of help.
What is her name?
Deborah.
Deborah. Thank you, Deborah. Yes.
I have one concern and joy, as I found out recently that my family that was stuck down in Florida that had lost everything because of the storm was now in Orlando at a FEMA shelter. Unfortunately, because they live in a trailer park in the community, it was totally wiped out. So they're trying to rebuild in the sense of getting back on their feet, but unfortunately they have to bounce around from place to place. They don't have any electricity in the area where they're staying in, but at the same time, I mean, the communication is hard because cell phone towers have been down and communication, but FEMA has been setting up locations in the area for them to set up Wi-Fi and all the other stuff that they can use to help locate. My family, as I was told by one who texted me, said that they are fine. I'm still trying to get exact location of where they are and hopefully they'll be able to communicate with me. So I pray for them every day, and everybody here who's given me support has been on my side, and I'm so grateful to have people who are concerned, and I am so concerned about that. And I would like to say thank you to people who have helped me through this rough time of being homeless in the past, and now I'm finally getting back on my feet due to the love and the care of a friend of the church, Steve Camara. I appreciate you with all the love of my heart for giving me an opportunity to get off the streets and be safe and sound. God bless you, and God bless everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's keep those, joys and concerns, both spoken and unspoken, in our hearts. And like you said, Deborah, let's keep the people who are not as fortunate, who don't have the support, in our prayers. And now, again, would you please rise in body or in spirit, as you wish, for hymn number 6, Just as Long as I Have Breath.
Till
Thank you so much. It's not an easy song. And now for the closing words, I decided to read a poem which is called For Calling the Spirit Back from Wandering the Earth in Its Human Feet by Joy Harjo. She was the first Indigenous person to be our 23rd Poet Laureate. She's a member of the Muskogee Creek Nation. And just make yourselves comfortable. It is a little long, but it is a beautiful poem. So for calling the spirit back from wandering the earth in its human feet, put down that bag of potato chips, that white bread, that bottle of pop. Turn off that cell phone, computer, and remote control. Open the door, then close it behind you. Take a breath offered by friendly winds. They travel the earth, gathering essences of plants to clean. Give it back with gratitude. If you sing, it will give your spirit lift to fly to the stars, ears, and back. Acknowledge this earth who has cared for you since you were a dream planting itself precisely within your parents' desire. Let your moccasin feet take you to the encampment of the guardians who have known you before time, who will be there after time. They sit before the fire that has been there without time. Let the earth stabilize your post-colonial insecure jitters. Be respectful of the small insects, birds, and animal people who accompany you. Ask their forgiveness for the harm we humans have brought down upon them. Don't worry. The heart knows the way, though there may be high rises, interstates, checkpoints, armed soldiers, massacres, wars, and those who will despise you because they despise themselves. The journey might take a few hours, a day, a year, a few years, 100, 1,000, or even more. Watch your mind. Without training, it might run away and leave your heart for the immense human feast set by the thieves of time. Do not hold regrets. When you find your way to the circle, to the fire kept burning by the keepers of your soul, you will be welcomed. You must clean yourself with cedar, sage, or other healing plant. Cut the ties you have to failure and shame. Let go the pain you are holding in your mind, your shoulders, your heart, all the way to your feet. Let go the pain of your ancestors to make way for those who are heading in our direction. Ask for forgiveness. Call upon the help of those who love you. These helpers take many forms: animals, element, bird, angel, saint, stone, or ancestor. Call your spirit back. It may be caught in corners and creases of shame, judgment, and human abuse. You must call in a way that your spirit will want to return. Speak to it as you would to a beloved child. Welcome your spirit back from its wandering. It may return in pieces, in tatters. Gather them together. They will be happy to be found after being lost for so long. Your spirit will need to sleep a while after it is bathed and given clean clothes. Now you can have a party. Invite everyone you know who loves and supports you. Keep room for those who have no place to go. Make a giveaway, and remember, keep the speeches short. Then you must do this. Help the next person find their way through the dark. Joy Harjo. And now for extinguishing the chalice, I have a little reading from the Bhagavad Gita in Sanskrit, but I will tell you what it means also. Sorry. Okay. So, Karmanye Vajni Sadraste, Ma Phaleshu Kadachanam, Ma Karma Phale Bhu Mati Sangho Sarva Karmani. And it essentially means, do your duty or karma with full faith, lead with devotion, integrity, and be totally detached from its outcome. Don't work to merely reap the fruits, and never let the result overshadow your duty. Thank you so much for listening and being such a wonderful host. Thank you.
We do have coffee up here. If you give us a minute, let us move the camera out of the way, and then you can go up and get yourself a coffee.
So Rumni, do you hug?
Oh, yes, of course.
You are hugging?
Yes, of course. I forgot I was going to show this book.
Oh,
It's got the Joy Harjo poem.
Oh. Oh, you're so
It's warm here.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you. No, this is great. No, I love it. It's just so busy. Yeah, I took up another job, which I forgot to mention, but no, I have two part-time jobs and full-time seminary, but both of them I love. So,
Yeah, and you're a wife and a mother.
oh my God, that I do.